Adam here from the Walzer Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is compare a couple of vehicles. And next to me here we have the Hyundai Santa Cruz, and on the other side we have the Ford Maverick. So we'll look at the interior, the exterior, the truck beds, and see which one might just be right for you. Okay, so let's start with the Santa Cruz. Now this one we have here is the 24 model in the limited trim. Now this is also all-wheel drive, so this is going to get Hyundai's H-Track all-wheel drive system, which is going to help you kind of deactivate to get the best possible fuel economy, and when you need it, it will stay in all-wheel drive as you can lock it, or it will kick in automatically to help you out. Now from there, the Santa Cruz does have a few different engine options. This particular one does have the turbo. So what that means is you lose a little bit of fuel economy, as this one's rated at 27 mpg on the highway, but you gain a lot of fun when you're out on the open road. This one does have a ton of zippiness, I've noticed. I spent a little bit of time behind the wheel of each vehicle today, and it's a lot of fun. It's got a great ride and drive, and I love the style. So this is the sage gray color, and it rides on these 20-inch wheels, and overall I think the design is really cool. And as well, the truck bed gives you a ton of usability in this one. So this one does have a locking tonneau cover. It's got a really cool storage inside the bed that lifts up, it doubles as a cooler, and it makes it very usable. This one also is going to have a bed extender, and there's a bunch of accessories with this one, which again, it's all about usability. You get the space and you get the ride and drive that's very similar to a car versus maybe a full-size pickup. But if you don't need all of the towing or all of that comes with a full-size truck, maybe the Santa Cruz is going to be right for you. Now, speaking of towing, this one will be, when properly equipped, able to tow 5,000 pounds. But let's hop over to the Ford Maverick. We'll take a look at that exterior. So now this is the Ford Maverick, and this is the XL trim. Unfortunately, we didn't have access to a Lariat to make a fair comparison, but we'll talk about equipment that you can get on the Ford Maverick. Now with this one, this is going to ride on these 16-inch wheels, and again, this is a very zippy and fun vehicle when you're out on the road. It's got an 8-speed automatic, and there is a couple engine options when you're looking at this Ford Maverick. There's going to be a 2-liter, which is kind of a basic hybrid system, which could be front wheel or all-wheel drive, and then you have a 2-liter EcoBoost, which is what this one is. So you're going to get great fuel economy, and like I said, this one is the all-wheel drive trim, so you are going to have that sure-footedness when the weather turns and it gets a little snowy out there. Now, I like the Ford Maverick as it's very small. It's a very compact vehicle that still offers a ton of usability. This one can tow up to 4,000 pounds, and it has almost a 1,500 pound payload capacity, so you can load this thing up, and it's a very usable vehicle that way. Whether you're just a Home Depot hero like me on the weekends, or you're actually towing maybe a boat out to the lake, the Ford Maverick does offer a ton of usability. So as you work your way up through the trim levels, whether that's the Lariat, which is going to be fully loaded, you're going to get some awesome wheel options. There's a bunch of really cool colors that it comes in. And again, it breaks down to maybe you don't need a full SUV or a full-size truck, or you don't want to drive a small car. That's where these vehicles really shine. Let's hop back over to the Hyundai Santa Cruz. We'll check out the interior. Okay, so now inside the Santa Cruz, again, this is the limited model, so you're gonna have a ton of great equipment here. Let's start with the seats. So this has a really cool orange stitching that matches that sage gray really nicely, I think, in here. These are gonna be ventilated, they're also gonna be heated, and we have a heated steering wheel, which is one of my favorite options. Now, onto the steering wheel here, you have a ton of usability from that as far as your digital display. So the gauge cluster here is all digital, so it gives you all your readouts, all your trip settings. This one does have adaptive cruise control as well, so all that will be housed in there. Now from there, on our regular infotainment screen, depending on which trim level of the Santa Cruz you're looking at, there is an available wireless Apple CarPlay. This one, I have my phone plugged in. It's great when you're on the road, and it definitely keeps your attention focused ahead rather than messing with your phone when you're out driving around. Now there is also going to be wireless charging on here, so you can put your phone down, it's going to be nice and charged up for you, or there is a couple USBs down there, which makes it very usable. Now the climate control, you can either do it through the screen up here, or there is going to be touchscreen buttons. So that's going to be a dual zone climate control in here, which is really nice. So you can pick your temperature, or your passenger can change their temperature. Another thing with the infotainment, there's a Bose sound system in here, so it sounds awesome. It's great when you're on the road. Have my Spotify going, got my Google Maps all hooked up. It's an easy system and it works really well. One of the other things that's kind of neat in here is when I hit the blinker, you get a camera, so it's kind of a blind spot camera, as well as having blind spot monitoring in this vehicle. There's a ton of safety in here, whether it's the adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, that blinker camera, which is super cool. There's just a bunch of stuff to keep you, and maybe if your family's in the vehicle, safe when you're out on the road. A few other things like I mentioned, this does have the all-wheel drive lock, and there's a little button down here you can press, so this does have the 360 camera. So you can kind of check out what's on your side or behind you. So like I said, this tows 5,000 pounds, so maybe you got the boat, you're backing it into the lake. That is a very awesome feature to have there. A few other things, the sunroof, and then into the back seats. So how's the legroom in here? I'm about 6'1", and I found where I'm driving comfortably, it is a little tight in the back, but compared to maybe this, the Maverick, the Tacoma, the Nissan Frontier, they're all very similar, where you could put a car seat back there, or you could put 4 or 5 adults, but they're not gonna be the most comfortable compared to maybe a full-size pickup truck. But again, you're getting great fuel economy because of this size, and you do still get a ton of usability, as the bed is a pretty good size. Let's hop over to the Ford Maverick. We'll take a look at that interior. Okay, so now we're in the Ford Maverick, and this is the XL trim. So this is where it just begins. So this is gonna be base equipment in here, and then from here you can work your way all the way up to that Lariat, which is gonna give you a ton of cool stuff. There's also gonna be the Lariat Tremor, which is gonna give you a bunch of cool equipment and a sweet exterior design as well. But I like this one. It's just a basic truck. If you're looking for something that can be very usable, you don't need all the stuff, this is still gonna have Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto, so you can plug your phone in, and I like that there's a bunch of different storage spaces down here, and obviously as you work your way through the trim levels, you're gonna get a lot of that same equipment that the Hyundai Santa Cruz offers. Now the seating position is a little bit lower, the hood's a little bit longer, it almost feels like I'm in an F-150, just shrunk down a little bit. The Ford Sync system is great. This one, the climate control, is really easy to use, and they put USB plugs right in the front here, so you can keep all your devices charged up when you're on the go. Now, one of the other cool things is the dial shifter. So that frees up a bunch of space here. There's cup holders, there's a little storage. There's also a few different things where you can select through your drive modes, your traction control, and this also has auto start stop. So the 2-liter EcoBoost is going to get a few MPGs better when looking at the Santa Cruz, but like I said, you suffer a little bit in the towing capacity, but 4,000 pounds is still going to get your fishing boat to the lake, or if you're hauling stuff up to the cabin, this is going to be a great option for that. And if you want even better mileage, the hybrid powertrain is a really great feature as well, because that's going to get even better city fuel economy, and it's going to be a great ride and drive when you're out on the road. So looking at the seats in here, obviously as we work our way up through the trim level, you're gonna have heated or air conditioned seats. And in the back as well, as far as storage or room is concerned, it's gonna be very, very similar, again, to not only the Santa Cruz, but the Tacoma and the Frontier, that where I'm driving comfortably, I could still put adults in the back. But for the most part, if you're bopping around town or you got the family in there, it's more than enough to get stuff done. So again, back to the bed on this one, it's as you work your way up through the trim, you're gonna get some different stuff, whether that's tie downs, bed lights, different storage or spray and liners. This one again is just where it starts. And if you're looking for an inexpensive vehicle that's gonna get great fuel economy, has a ton of usability and stuff inside, this is definitely a great option there. So between the two, what do we think? I mean, the Santa Cruz has a bunch of great design language. I love the style and colors and the way the cabin is laid out in there. And again, I know it's not a complete fair comparison today, but if we're looking at the Lariat versus the Limited, all of pretty much the same equipment, it's gonna break down to style, the ride and drive, what you like on the road, how you like the seating position in both vehicles, but I really don't think there's a bad choice. I think it comes down to which one do you like better as far as the way they look, the way they drive. I mean, you gotta get out, take one for a spin, see what you think. So that was just a quick look at the Hyundai Santa Cruz and the Ford Maverick. Now, if you'd like more information or to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by any one of our locations. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching.